Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are taking a look at your life purpose. We asked several questions about it, like what that looks like, how that may look like to others, things that you may need to do, steps you need to take to reach that purpose, if it is something that you reach or if it's something that's kind of like ongoing, and how to get the most out of this lifetime with that purpose. I know that's a lot, right? So you want to definitely stick around for all of that. This is a pick a card reading, which means you get to use your intuition to pick the group card number. I will be placing objects here in a moment. You use your intuition to pick what resonates with you. Then I have the timestamps down below in the description. You click on there, it takes you to your reading. Then I use my intuition to read the cards for you. If you're somebody who likes to pick with objects, I'm going to be placing objects right now. So this deck is called Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. The number 1 and the object that goes with it is, this is black opal. Black opal egg. All of them are eggs today. I like eggs, so here we go. For group number 2, this is Mystic Melodies, the number 2, and then this is Zebra Marble. For group number 3, this is the Everyday Witch Tarot, number 3, and the object for number 3, we have Lapis Lazuli. So if you're still not sure which group is for you, I'm going to do a breathing exercise. We're going to set intentions, and you're welcome to do that with me. I'm just going to go ahead and close my eyes and invite you to do that too. Take a deep breath in and release. Release out any anxiety. Just be here in the moment. We're going to set the intention to hear what we need to hear, to get the messages that we need to receive. Take another deep breath in and release. Now open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the group for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will meet you at your reading. Hello group 1. This is the black opal, or the number 1, or this is the Golden Nouveau Tarot. So we'll get to this in a second. I'm going to pull a couple cards from a couple other decks. We'll get the majority of our cards from here, but we're going to describe your life purpose with three other interesting decks. So describe life purpose. The life purpose for group number 1, we get koi fish spirit. There is always enough. And then let's get some attributes here. Visionary. So I could see where visionary and then the always enough kind of go together. And one more card here. Describe the life purpose for our group 1. And we get sage. Ooh, yeah, so sage, visionary. You're somebody who, when they say things, people pay attention. I think you are meant to be positive. I hope that you're in a positive space. I realize that that is more difficult than it sounds as somebody who tries to be in a positive space most of the time. Okay, the koi fish spirit. Let's start with this. Just wanted to pull all of these 3 cards from different decks to kind of give us an idea of your purpose and to describe your purpose. And it's very forward facing. I hope that you are comfortable being a leader, a visionary. When we have the sage and the visionary here, it's purpose. You know, you're blazing paths that you may not see other people blaze or very few people blaze. You may not feel good or comfortable following other people. It's because you're meant to be a leader, and you are meant to question authority. You are meant to be an example for others. There's not anything controlling necessarily in here, but I feel like other people, when you set the example, other people will follow that example. The koi fish spirit is about wealth, actually, wealth and abundance. I also feel like I'm getting as above, so below. So wherever you are, sometimes I don't want to say dominate your surroundings, but certainly like the koi fish grows to their surroundings. They rise to the occasion. So wherever you are, be it a small school, a small town, a small business, you are somebody who can just be plucked up from where you are and put into any type of container, bowl, if you will, and just go off swimming and succeed. So sometimes we have this fear that maybe you're from a small town, for an example, or you work for a small company, that your skills don't translate, and they absolutely do. Just because you're a leader of a small community, a small business, a small church, a small spiritual realm, it doesn't mean that you're small time, not at all. And again, that as above, so below. Mother Teresa said, and this is one of my favorite quotes of hers, and I say this often, is if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And that is, it's starting small and radiating out, and it's starting within yourself and radiating out. You are not meant to live and this might be coming up because I need to tell you this, you are not meant to live in scarcity. There is always enough. You are always enough. And you are meant to show people that. So not only are you meant to succeed, and I kind of feel like your own beliefs about certain things might be holding you back. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a specific talent or gift, and you love doing that specific talent or gift, and you want to do that for everybody for free. Well, you deserve to be paid for what you're doing, and your skills. So I just want to say that too, because you've got this wealth and abundance here. You are, there's an affirmation that is kind of coming up, like you are, or how should I word this affirmation? I am ready to receive monetary rewards for my energy, because I feel like you're putting out a lot of great energy into the world, and you should be paid for that. And I don't want to be too like woo-woo, touchy-feely with this too. I feel like, because a visionary, yeah, you can be a visionary by being on YouTube and telling your things, or any type of social media, or that kind of, be a visionary on a platform. But like Steve Jobs was a visionary, and you can take this as far as you want to take this, this visionary. So the light attributes here for visionary is capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. Now, that personal gain part is like, yes, I feel like your life path and your life purpose is to put the mission, if you will, in front of, your personal gain, but that comes back around. So that's why I feel like that affirmation is coming up here to remind you that you don't do anybody any good if you're not collecting, if you're trying to live your life purpose and not gaining any monetary supplement from that. and then you're homeless. Like, that does nobody any good. You need to, you know, get that into your head and your mind that you can do your life's purpose, and you can be compensated for that. The shadow attributes here is selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. So that part, though, I think sometimes people don't get what we're saying, and I don't want you to sell your vision, water it down or compromise it, but you can certainly pull it back into bite-sized chunks, because I think sometimes you might come off as overwhelming to other people, and then that in turn kind of scares you a little bit off of this purpose. Then we have the sage. Take on the day with honesty, be a truth finder, use your knowledge well, feel all of the independence and truth you have in you. So it's about believing in abundance, and that belief comes from, and yourself as well. And that belief comes internally. Unfortunately, I know that I would love to say, hey, this person is going to come in and whisk you off your feet and make all of the wrongs right. That is true, but it's you. You're the person who's going to do that. But I think that it's more about believing in yourself. And this has been coming up a lot too. People say seeing is believing, but in your case, believing is seeing. You're a very powerful manifester. You're meant to, I kind of feel like if you're questioning your purpose, if you're questioning why you're here, if you're questioning what you're doing, it's because you have really big dreams. And the thing is, you know, point yourself in the direction of those big dreams. Let's look at some more like practical stuff, like when you are living your purpose, what does your day look like? The day-to-day of living this purpose, what does it look like? And we get the King of Pentacles in reverse. So I think that it's in reverse here because we've already kind of covered the idea that I think I might have to convince you here that you absolutely should be getting compensated for your life's purpose. What you do adds value to the world, and in turn, you provide value, you add value, and you deserve to get that value. I do feel like you are, the King of Pentacles in reverse can be a little bit chaotic, and so I feel like the day-to-day, you might be asking yourself how you can pull these things together. And again, we go back to this koi fish in that it starts with you. It starts with, and I really feel like it starts with your heart. Grounding is very important as well. I feel like having a level head, being grounded. If you are in your day and you feel like overwhelmed, it's time to step away. It's time to turn off the social media. It's time to turn off the news. It's time to go within yourself. It's time to meditate. It's time to take a walk. It's time to step away and just really be within your thoughts. It's time to cut out that clutter. I feel like you living your life purpose, it needs to a lot return back to you, return back to your internal, and trust yourself and trust, I kind of feel like too that you might try to control things, and it's not so much as of a control as it is a flow. Flow with this koi fish. This koi fish is going to just swim around that environment and find their way and flow within the waters instead of fighting against the current, going with the flow. But in turn with that, you are kind of directing the flow yourself, but it's more with your vision, it's more with your spirit, it's more with your with you putting your intentions out there. I think it's really important for you to sit in the morning and think about your day, arrange that day, and set your intentions. When you get into the shower, what is your intention with the shower? Of course, it's to get clean, but maybe it's to take a moment to really enjoy yourself, to get that either warm water or cold water on those muscles. A lot of people use their shower for a cold plunge, and they do that for health reasons, for mental clarity. Maybe that's what that shower is about for you, mental clarity. Set that intention as you step in there. Create a beautiful environment within your mind. And then that commute to work, set the intention that it's going to be, you're going to be on the right path, that you're going to be where you need to be. And those intentions, setting those intentions are very, very important for you. The end goal. So the day-to-day, there's some work involved. There is some work involved. The end goal here, look at this. Wow. Okay. So the Six of Wands is often a card about standing out and standing above the crowd. And I think you will. However, what's more important, this keeps coming back to internals. This keeps coming back to you feeling good and you feeling proud of yourself. I think that you're somebody who I don't want to say you're hard to impress, but there's a lot of like Taurus energy here. Tauruses do love the finer things in life, but they're just like, they're just even keel. They're not going to be like, woo, super excited that I get these visions as we're going through, and the vision here is, have you ever seen that game? It's like on TikTok or whatever, where they take those water bottles and they flip them, and if they land on the bottom, like people get like, uber excited. I think you're somebody who over celebrate something kind of ridiculous. I think you're somebody who would accomplish amazing and great things and just kind of let it go, or you move a mountain, but it just didn't happen within the time frame that you thought or the goals that you set. So you don't celebrate it while everybody else around you is like, oh my gosh, you are amazing. So I think you're that kind of person, that your goals and things are set so high for yourself that you're very hard to impress. And all of this is coming back internally for you. You might be hard to impress, like what I just described in those videos or those TikToks. You probably think they're the most ridiculous things ever. I would agree with you. You're right about that. But don't forget to pat yourself on the back. Don't forget to take those victory laps. I feel like this setting the intentions and the checking in with yourself often, so that you kind of have a barometer of where you are and where you're going. And it's important for you to check in the middle of your processes, because again, I feel like with the visionary and the sage here, that you have like these and King of Pentacles, you have these like amazingly high goals. And this is the Magician. He is a major arcana card, and he is here to remind you that you have all of the power within yourself. I feel like a lot of the same energy is with the koi fish here. That living in abundance, that believing in yourself, that internal belief, that don't forget to pat yourself on the back. You need to be real with yourself on how far you're coming and how far you're going. Okay, let's move this over here. And then the final card I'm going to pull is what this looks to others, what your life purpose and your path, what it looks like to others. it doesn't look like it's very fun to others. It looks like it might take you away from other people. There's a lot of, this is the Four of Wands in reverse, by the way. I also feel like other people would look at what you're doing and your life path and they would be scared by it. But again, you're a trailblazer. You are the one who is building this path and making this path and creating these new things. So just an idea, like you could be a writer, you could be, you know, the next Tolkien, the next J.K. Rowling, okay? A visionary in that way. You might be somebody who creates their own app. You might be somebody who does have their own YouTube channel or their own an Instagram model, like an Instagram model, or does something on Instagram that nobody else is doing. I feel like you are, you know, you could actually even be in politics. I'm throwing that out there too. I feel like politics might weigh you down a little bit. Though that may not be the best place for you, but somebody who's a visionary, somebody who is, you know, speaking out with your honesty. Yeah, honesty. That negates you from politics there. But you are definitely a leader and a thought leader, and somebody who stands out in front of others, and somebody who your drive might look a little bit different than what other people think you should be doing. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to say you're a workaholic, but especially when you are doing something that you love, other people just, maybe it's some sort of thankless job as well. Where you just have this internal that you know this needs to be done, and you go in and do it, and others look at that and they're like, why would you do such a thing? So so yeah, that life purpose, you have to be very strong internally, because other people just do not get it. And then we're going to do steps to take. Yeah. Wow. Okay, steps to take here. We have, I'm just gonna, I feel like, wow, okay. Getting a lot of cards, so let's make sure you see. I only wanted to pull 3, but 4 came out, so there's a lot of information coming here. It's interesting that our Pentacles, our King of Pentacles is reversed, and then we have the King of Cups upright, and that we have him right here next to the 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords can talk about, and then we have the 10 of Swords, and then we've got the Ace of Swords over here. So that's whatever you're doing is very intellectual, allowing the flow of ideas. You're somebody who always has ideas. You, in any situation, it's kind of hard for me to pin down like a vocation here of like your life purpose is some sort of job or some sort of work, because you're somebody who can excel at anything that you decide you want to do. And sometimes that's really difficult, because clearly if you're Michael Jordan and you have Michael Jordan's talent, you're going to be a basketball player, right? But you're somebody, and maybe that's the one talent you don't have is basketball, but you're somebody who could excel in many different fields. 10 of Swords and this King of Cups is really interesting next to each other. The steps you need to take to get to where you want to be, I don't want to say burn bridges, but certainly there's a lot of release of the past here. This King of Cups, he's often described as like he's like on an island. He sets boundaries. He's very emotionally on an island. It's very difficult to get to him. emotionally, which is good in your case because, like I said, we've got this Four of Wands reverse where people don't really understand what you're doing. So when they don't understand something, a lot of times they will, I don't know, talk behind your back or complain about what you're doing because they don't get it. Or they'll try to disparage you. People get really uncomfortable when you're not following the status quo, when you don't believe the same things that they do, when you don't do the same things that they do. But you're a trailblazer, you're a visionary. You're not going to get to the same place as everybody else is going because that's not where your vision is leading you. That's somebody else's vision. That's somebody else's leader. So the Ten of Swords is people cutting you down, talking behind your back, gossip, that type of thing. I think in your case we have it in reverse is because you don't care, which is good. That's very positive. So steps to get to where you need to be, we have setting boundaries. We have you not worrying about what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is thinking. You don't have to put your ideas on Facebook and get everybody else to have a consensus that what you're doing is the correct thing. You trust yourself, you trust your mind, you trust your intellect, and you are this visionary who creates things. You are a creator. You are your own worst enemy. So it doesn't even matter what they say because you not reaching your goals, you're your own worst critic anyway, that they could never say or disparage you as much as you can say and disparage yourself. So be careful about that. The Tower here is about release. It's about letting go. I feel like when you are a visionary, when you go out to seek new things, seek new ideas, seek new paths, a lot of times you are confronted with things that we've been told in the past, things that you need to let go, old ideas that just no longer serve us anymore. Something that has been coming up a lot, just as an example of like a tower kind of thing, is the food pyramid. If you remember the food pyramid when I was a child, like all the things that were the biggest things that you were supposed to eat on the food pyramid, or cereal, which is full of sugar, was supposed to be better for you than eating an egg, those types of things. And then you realize that dairy and the food companies, they came in and paid for certain space on the food pyramid. And then the other thing about the food pyramid is everybody biologically is different anyway, so we can't all eat the same way. Keto works for some people. Other people, it is literally like the worst thing that they could do. So when society is going in one direction and you've learned this thing and then you move past it, sometimes you have to rethink your ideas or figure out where this thing came from, and sometimes it just crashes all the way down. And it can be kind of catastrophic at times, but when it's catastrophic, moving forward, and I love that we have the Ace of Swords over here. It came out reversed, but I put it upright because I feel like it needs to be upright. I feel like it came out in reverse because tower moments are difficult. Tower moments are hard. Rethinking things are hard. Sometimes this information came from a trusted person. This came from your third grade teacher. This came from your parents. And sometimes we get angry about that. Like, they lied to me. Well, they were just doing what they thought was best. So moving past that and moving on with this vision that you have, allowing this new information to come in, these new ideas to come in, this breath of fresh air to come in, that's difficult. That's difficult. So I think that's why this is in reverse. And I feel like just us speaking about it at this time is enough to shift it into you thinking that all you need is your belief in yourself. All you need is your heart. So I'm just going to pull one more card. It's kind of like a final advice. It's kind of like a how to get the most out of this lifetime. Yeah, there's a lot we're putting into this final card here. Okay, we have the 10 of Wands. So I said something about this is going to be work, but I feel like it's something that you really enjoy. So you need to make sure that it's something you enjoy. I also feel like at some point that when you are carrying a heavy load, you can look around and see if there's somebody else to help you. I know a lot of this reading, most of this reading until this moment, I've been talking about you and your goals and your path and not worrying about what other people are thinking. But I really feel like as you move through, you're going to start picking up people who believe in your vision, whether that's your partner, whether that's your family, whether that's certain friends. So don't get overburdened by what you feel like you need to do. I also feel like this kind of comes in here when we were talking about the Six of Wands reversed, that it is more about what you think and you feel and your personal goals than everybody else around you. And I, even at that time, told you, you need to be kind with yourself. You need to step away if you need to step away. You need to look at a new area if you need to do that. This will always be here for you. Your life purpose will always be here for you. I do feel like if you don't have challenges, you are going to be bored. So challenges are really new opportunities for you. And I feel like you need to reframe those challenges as opportunities. And all of that is going to really help you. And I also feel like pushing through, finishing something, breaking things into bite-sized pieces that maybe at this point in your life you feel like, let's say you want to be a brain surgeon, for example, but you haven't even gone, you have no degree at all. So it's a big step from going, graduating high school to being a brain surgeon. That's a great goal. Keep your eye on that prize. But you understand that there's going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of ups and downs between now and then. So be this visionary for sure. That's what's going to carry you through. Believe in yourself for sure. That's what's going to carry you through. But have those little plateaus where you can be proud of yourself and be proud of where you've come from and how far you're going and where you've been through. And don't discount doing something just because it's going to take a long time, just because there's a learning curve. I feel like you're somebody who meets challenges, somebody who really goes out, who turns those challenges into opportunities. And first semester of school, great, celebrate. Break down all of that step all the way through and make sure that you are rewarding yourself all the way through. So that's what I have for you, Group 1. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you for being here with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 2. This is the Zebra Marble, and I'm just going to move that over here. And then this is our Mystic Melodies group, Mystic Melodies. We're going to just put that over here for a second because I'm going to pull cards from these decks. I have 3 decks to pull from. We'll start here. And we're going to start off with describing your purpose. And then you can decide if you're on the right path or if this is the right purpose for you. Remember, we do have free will. Some people say we don't. Say we do. Armadillo Spirit, set healthy boundaries. So let's get back to that in a second. We're going to pull one card card from here. These are just attributes because we're describing your life purpose. Wow, God. Light attributes, benevolent and compassion. Recognize the eternal force within yourself and others. It really goes kind of with this armadillo spirit. I'm sure you don't look at an armadillo and think God, but it is learning what is yours and what is others. So yourself saying no, setting those boundaries. Shadow attributes, despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. So we're going to be wary of that. And then one more here. And then this one is like sneaky and just came out. So Queen, yes, take on the day with real confidence. Be a leader, use your kindness well. Keep all of the strength and compassion you have in you. I think you're somebody who, I don't know if you've had a dark night of the soul. I think it would really do you well. I think it would do you well to get familiar with your shadow side. Evil, like because you're very, very powerful. And very powerful people need to pay attention to what they do and what they're putting out in the world. For example, Hitler, you're not Hitler, but he was so dangerous not only because he had terrible ideas, but he gained power. He got power. Now, I can bet that you can think of a time in your life, maybe when your first job, and I'm getting the vision of, like, you know, your manager at Wendy's, your manager at a landscaping company. I bet, or even somebody who was a peer, but maybe they had seniority, so they thought they were in charge of you. I bet you can think of a time where you worked for or with somebody who thought that they were in charge of you and who was just mean because they had this power, this perceived power. That type of person doesn't really need to pay attention. I'm sure they made your life hell, of course, but they don't really have that power. They don't have that. They can really just make your life miserable, and you can walk away. Use your boundaries. Say no. You enforce your power on that. But we all know, like, those Karens. Sorry if your name is Karen, who will just try to use the police department as their personal enforcement on something. We all have seen that. We have all seen that type of shadow self. And all of those people, I bet you thought that they were a good person. This is your life purpose, is to get acquainted with your shadow side. Your life purpose is to get acquainted with what makes you unique as an individual. And loving yourself fully inside and out, making friends with your demons, as well as, and I feel like that's where you can really then be free and learn to shine. Confidence, kindness, strength, compassion. These are all part of your purpose. And a lot of it is directed towards yourself. And once you are acquainted with who you are as an individual, and like this armadillo spirit, where you end and somebody else begins, you know, there is going to be a point, if you haven't hit this point already, where you're going to have to start enforcing these boundaries where things were okay for you in the past, but they're not okay anymore. It's not okay for your friend to take advantage of you in a specific way. It's not okay for your partner to speak to you in a certain way because you realized it makes you feel bad. You have to have this strength to recognize this within yourself and say that. It's not okay to be treated the way that you are where you work. And part of recognizing those boundaries, setting those boundaries, is enforcing those boundaries and moving on to find something else if you have to. And your purpose is to recognize your strength. It is to recognize your weaknesses. It is to love yourself anyway and be kind anyway. Could you completely demoralize somebody, maybe on social media? Could you completely, just wreck somebody? Yes. Should you, though? Should you? And those are the types of things that you need to think about with this type of purpose. How does, as you are growing and learning about yourself, ooh, this is beautiful. The day-to-day of your life purpose is just gonna feel good. It's being your authentic self. It's showing your authentic self to the world. It's being creating those connections. You have a lot of connections to create and make through your kindness. I feel like part of your purpose is to find your tribe through people who are sad and weak in a moment, and you just show them compassion and can be sad and weak and vulnerable with them and help them to find strength and help them to find their boundaries and help them to find their confidence to be who they are. Your day-to-day, you might actually even be working with children, families, and it's very rewarding and it feels really good. And of course you're going to have challenges. Of course you are. But overall, your day-to-day is beautiful. And your final goal, right, comes out here, 3 of Wands. I don't think you have a final goal. You don't have this final destination. You keep pushing forward. You keep growing and expanding more. And I feel like a lot of it is built on and made out of love. I'm really feeling my heart chakra here. Doing meditations with your heart chakra, clearing negative energy, I think can really help you. I know that's kind of an odd thing to come up, but I'm just really feeling it. I feel like you just keep growing and expanding and moving and having new goals and new plans and new conquests. I feel like you could be a little bit nomadic in, maybe a traveling nurse, maybe you're traveling to other countries, maybe you're doing some things like Peace Corps, things like that. If that doesn't, that's only for certain people, but certainly, I just feel like you just keep expanding, that there is no end goal in sight. And you might have goals here and there, but you just keep, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And then, how does your purpose look to others? We get the King of Swords in reverse. I think that kings are about control. I think that, and then the King of Swords can be very, in the shadow, in reverse, can be very controlling. To others, you seem very approachable. You don't seem like you're over. I feel like you are in control, but it's a very subtle control. It's not a, you need to do this, 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 and this, and then I'm going to, you know, you're going to get spanked, for lack of a better word, if you don't do those things. You're not this authoritarian. You very well could be an authoritarian, so be wary and careful of that. But somebody who, in your best self, in your best projection to others, you allow people to be who they need to be. You don't try to control them. You don't try to control their thoughts. You're okay being friends with somebody from a different political party, for example. You're not intimidated by that, and you don't intimidate other people. You're somebody who allows thoughts and words and ideas to flow freely. You don't try to control that situation. Now, you may, when you do enforce a boundary, though, it's swift, and it is, you know, people like, oh, don't mess with that person. Don't mess with her. Don't mess with him. They're not somebody to be messed with, which I think is a positive, especially if right at this moment you're wondering, and then going back to these boundaries, because I'm like, you're wondering where you need to put boundaries, or you let your heart be your guide. You let your internal compass be your guide on what you feel is okay and what you don't feel is okay. And you need to voice that and allow others to make those corrections. Some of the corrections might be your own. You might have to remove yourself from the situation because you know it's never going to change. So, steps to take in your life purpose. We're just going to get 3 cards here. It's interesting that these all come out. I think yeah. Okay, wow. Okay, so I feel like these came out in reverse because you're not quite sure where to start, where to begin. And it's interesting that the Fool is over here. I think once you start on your path, like this 3 of Wands energy where I said that you keep expanding, you keep moving. Like once you get to where you need to go, once you hit your stride, once you hit your path, your desire, your goals, it's going to be much easier for you. I think right now we're struggling with this power that you have, that you need to, this belief in yourself. It's more of a struggle with that at the moment. The Lovers, the Magician, the Fool, all of these are beautiful major arcana cards. The Fool is the beginning of it kicks off the whole deck of tarot. It is somebody who gets super excited about, it could be very connected to the 3 of Wands. It's somebody who gets super excited about the path in front of them, about the possibilities, that the path in front of them and the possibilities are endless. They may not see the troubles, they may not see bumps in the road, and that's okay. They're trusting their future self with future issues. And I feel like that's why these cards kind of came out in reverse, is you might be questioning yourself a lot instead of releasing and letting go and trusting yourself. The Lovers is a very fun and interesting card. This card is, I feel like with the Lovers and the 10 of Cups, I feel like your path is not alone. Like you're going on this path with other people. It's a journey with others. It is about finding who you are, and maybe you're finding yourself through the lens of others as well. I feel like boundaries are really important to you because you're kind of bouncing off of other people all of the time. You might have your own values of how you grew up and how you were raised, and this is how you do things like this. And then you run across people who think completely differently than you. Maybe they invade your personal space and you're like, what? I don't get that, you know, or I don't understand how you're treating me like that, because I would never treat you like that. So there's a constant kind of almost learning about yourself through learning with others. Maybe you would never take a bite of that apple, but Eve would. Or maybe you would absolutely take a bite of that apple, figure out what this consciousness, this thing on the other side, the reason why wouldn't somebody tell you to take the apple? Maybe you're that curious cat. Either way, you know, Adam and Eve were learning from each other, and they didn't really start learning from each other until they took a bite of that apple. The Lover's card to me is about evolution. It's about consciousness. It's about leveling up your consciousness. And I feel like that's part of your purpose, to get to and strive to new levels. And we're leveling up consciousness all the time. I mean, if you take a look at a baby, for example, or a toddler, like they're very them focused, they're very me focused. They don't, like, peekaboo works as a game with them because they think when their eyes are closed and they can't see you, that you can't see them. So there's always going to be shifting of, you know, walking in somebody else's shoes, shifting of perspective here. And using that as a way to expand your consciousness, expand your horizons, expand your dreams, and your, what do I want to say here? The word has come into my mind like 3 times, and experiences, expand it. Why was that so hard? Expand your experiences. And then the Magician, sometimes the Magician comes out in reverse because we have this feeling that we don't belong, that we don't deserve what we have, we don't deserve the skills that we have. That is called an imposter syndrome. So if that sounds like you know, we have to get past that. This is all about growth for you. This is all about evolution. And I feel like this imposter syndrome, sometimes we prove to ourselves that we deserve something, that we deserve to be here, that we're powerful enough, that we've learned enough, that we're skilled enough to do something, to be here. And we get to the next level, which, you know, the Lovers and the Fool are and even this 3 of Wands is this constant level up. And we kind of find ourselves as a fish out of water, maybe, and we're like, oh my gosh, do I really belong here? Am I really supposed to be in this room? It might be, an example would be if you are from a small town and then you go to New York City and everything is different, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, the environment around you is so different, and you question yourself if you even belong here. However, you know, I feel like this is all part of the boundaries that you set for yourself, and maybe that environment needs you. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you're not supposed to belong. Maybe you are supposed to change that environment just by being in it, by being who you are. Those are the types of things, the types of questions that you need to be asking yourself. I feel like you need to be, you know, that confidence, keep believing in yourself. And I just feel like, you know, that there's that constant kind of challenge, and you absolutely belong in any room that you were put in. So I can tell you that right now, especially with the, you know, all the cards that we have out here. And then I think we covered the Fool here. So I don't know if these are necessarily in chronological order. I kind of feel like you kind of bounce between these types of steps. It was meant to be like, this is the first thing you do, you level up. This is the second thing you do, you believe in yourself. This is the third thing you do, you start off and you have this full potential, and you look at your end goal, and And maybe those are the steps, but maybe sometimes you need to rearrange those steps. Sometimes you really need to start off with the Fool and start off with believing in your potential and getting excited about that end goal. And then you need to bring in some practical, like the magician, he has all of the tools at his disposal. Maybe it is that you need to start looking then for the tools that you need for this job. And maybe that's then when you kind of level up. So these cards are interesting in the way that they came out, because I just feel like these are all, these three skill sets, these three things. With the Three of Wands, like I said, you keep achieving, you keep going, you keep expanding. I feel like you do it mostly with love again, with your heart and with your kindness here. So some situations you need to be excited about at first. Some situations you need to, bounce back and forth between another person and then grow and then move forward. Some situations you might be needing to look for the tools and become this magical manifester that you know that you are. So those are the steps in finding your life purpose. And I think it's not, I think the joy is in the journey. It's all about the journey. It's all about self-discovery, and it's all about expansion for you. How to get the most out of this lifetime. I know we're just going to pull one card for that, and that's a big deal for one card. And we get death. The most out of this lifetime is understanding that change is constant. The only thing constant here is change. I also feel like, okay, so our environment is all about change. It's constantly moving, it's constantly changing, and our ego and our causes anxiety because of this. Because in the past, when we were cavemen, change was kind of a bad thing. Change could bring about death. Change could bring about catastrophe. Now it's more about change bringing about tools, change bringing about evolution, change bringing about opportunity, if you see what I mean. So it's mastering this idea of, and that would be kind of the Lover's card, the evolutionary thing, that consciousness that we're expanding, understanding that when things change, like even if it's a change that we like and expect and want, when things change, we kind of get anxious about it because there's an unknown, right? And it used to be in our, it's baked into our DNA when we weren't the modern beings that we are, that change was bad. So when you start experiencing that anxiety or that feeling or whatever that change is, that you start kind of like rising above it and having that new perspective of it. And this change is then a rebirth. There's a cycle to it. And even the year, there's a cycle to that. So we've got winter, but then it's followed by spring and summer and then fall. So death is kind of like in that fall period where we see this change coming, and winter, we're releasing all of these things. It's when everything dies off, and it all dies off so that it can grow back again. And you, through your self-discovery here, are meant to embrace change. I hope you're somebody who likes change. You're meant to embrace change and use it to advance yourself, to advance your ideas, to advance your concept of yourself and your being. And there's also a huge spiritual component to this. I hope you realize that. I know there might be a lot of people who turned out, or who were turned off by this God card, because how can you be God? But in essence, you are. You are part of God. You're part of the creation. You're part of the fabric of the universe. And that is amazing in and of itself. And I just feel like we don't honor that and love that about ourselves and others enough. So that's what I have for you, group 2. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. This is Lapis Lazuli. This is the number 3. This is Everyday Witch Tarot, which we will get more out in a second. I'm just going to pull 3 cards from 3 different decks because we're going to describe your life purpose and your path. And ooh, Dragonfly Spirit. Truth transcends illusion. Okay, that's pretty cool. I put this other deck over here. I have to reach for it. And let's just one card here. What else can you tell us about the life purpose for group number 3? Servant. Light attribute, delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. The shadow attribute is using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life. So that's something that's like an idea that came up in group number 1 as well, that that just because you serve others, like there's a lot of ways to serve others, and just because you serve others doesn't mean that you are destined to be destitute. It doesn't mean that you are anything less. You're not less than others. There is, being a teacher would be serving others. But there are a lot of teachers who make a lot of money, and there's different ways to be a teacher where you are making a lot of money. A doctor would really be somebody who serves others as well. So serving others doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it for free. However, there's probably going to be a lot of opportunities where you're doing things for your neighbors, but put that out there as karma. Put that out there as you're receiving it back. And then they've got Tomboy. Take on the day with real tomfoolery, be rogue, use your openness well, feel all of the strength and character you have in you. So I feel like there's a lot of playfulness here, a lot of joy, a lot of getting your hands dirty, not being afraid to work, not being afraid to, whether you're doing that for others or for yourself or your own self-discovery. And it's interesting with the Dragonfly Spirit and the Tomboy Spirit, because I feel like there's such like an air energy here, like such like a connected spirit and openness, like this truth transcends illusion, but it just like good honest work though too goes into that. So there's a lot of grounding that is in like that. Have you ever seen Micro Dirty Jobs? That might be something that you're attracted to, and that has like a lot of service involved in it. But like Mike Rowe, he shines a spotlight on certain things, and this dragonfly shines a spotlight, finds truth. You could be somebody who is really interested in journalism and in revealing things, and maybe you are creating content online where you reveal new things, you find hidden realms, you find hidden truths. You are a truth seer, you're a truth sayer. I do feel like you do that in a very fun way though, in a very, like you find joy in that, and you're supposed to find joy here as part of your life purpose. The Dragonfly Spirit talks about paying attention to the truth beyond illusion, using your discernment. I feel like you have a great BS detector. Use it. And I feel like a lot of times when we're talking about, like the servant attribute, you're open, you want to help other people. A lot of times we allow ourselves to be taken advantage of sometimes. Maybe we know that somebody is lying to us, but, we kind of hope that they're not. And you don't want to be that person who's always questioning everybody else. But you know in your heart, and it's one thing to question other people, it's another thing to question yourself, and don't question yourself. I kind of feel like, you're somebody who could be, you could be a tarot reader yourself, because this transcends illusion, kind of seeing beyond the veil. If you were open to receiving messages from the other side, be it a medium or speaking to spirit guides, I think that's part of your journey. That's part of your growth here. That's part of what your soul wants for you. That's part of your life purpose. I think that finding your higher self, connecting with your higher self, but also this connection to the earth and the ground. So I said it's a really interesting juxtaposition, like this very light and airy air energy. Dragonflies, I also feel like are very lucky. So it's kind of like this thing about finding luck, but then creating your own luck and doing it to serve other people. Love, of course, I feel like is important here. However, I'm not really getting of course, you're working with other people and you're finding maybe that joy and love working for or helping other people. Part of being a servant could be a parent. I know, I'm laughing at that. I just feel like I'm my kid's servant. So what does your day-to-day look like? And we get the Lovers. The Lovers is a card about connecting with other people. It is a card, and especially in this particular one, the servant part, I feel like if you are in an alignment with somebody who else has this like servant attribute, this willingness, this wanting to serve others and serve the world, I feel like that is the best position for you. I feel like you want to work with other people. Again, I feel like, and this kind of came out for group 2 as well, because they had the Lovers card, albeit in a different position, but you can find yourself and see yourself bouncing off other people and looking at yourself through their lens. It doesn't mean that they define who you are. It doesn't mean that that's how you should define yourself. You shouldn't at all. You should define yourself through yourself, but through experiences with others. And then when you're open to that, sometimes the experiences aren't always the most positive, but challenges create opportunities, and it's opportunities for growth, and it's opportunities of growth, really, of your consciousness here. You are here to experience schoolroom earth and to have fun with it. So that's your day-to-day. The end goal for you, we have the Emperor. So it is really to conquer Earth. It's to conquer yourself. It is to kind of get into this, like the Emperor is somebody who's very methodical, is coming up. Somebody who he plans things out. He's a planner, a divine masculine, maybe the most divine masculine, the most fatherly type figure. So I said that you might be a parent. That might be really part of your path. If you're not a parent, working with and developing young people, it's helping others to develop this kind of like fatherly love, this fatherly guidance. So maybe at one point you're like working with other people, but certainly a leadership position, and maybe you don't see yourself necessarily as a leader here. And leaders are kind of servants too. Politics might be a civil servant kind of thing. Military, however, take that however. somebody who, because I feel like there's a certain kind of protector of others that you want to be, and it's really for the good of you really want to be like, the servant part is for the good of society, for the good of others, for the good of the whole. However, it's like the good of whole because it's like on a very individual level. And then how other people view you and your life purpose. How do other people view our group number 3 in their life purpose? 2 of Cups. So yeah, this love that you're putting out for others, this, and you don't have to be a father, by the way. This is just kind of like that fatherly energy. It's an energy that takes action. It's very, we get this tomboy here, so we're not being gender specific. You can be male, female, however you identify. Other people see you as their equal. They see you as their partner. They feel that love from you. They really feel it from your heart. They feel your authenticity that you're putting out there. So I feel like you're really successful in that, with that connection with others. You make other people feel good about themselves. You uplift others, and in turn, they uplift you. We're going to pull some cards for steps. We have the 3 of Cups. A lot of, the Cups cards, a lot of working with other people, feeling fulfilled here with the World. And I also feel like the World and the 4 of Pentacles is kind of, they're very much release. They're releasing, they're letting go, they're going with the flow. So the steps to take to find, in finding your purpose here is connecting with others, doing things that make you feel good. We've got, the tomboy card, we talked about joy. This 3 of Cups card, we're talking about joy. The 2 of Cups cards, we're talking about joy. We're talking about connection with other people. We're talking about finding that fulfillment. Even this, of course, the Lover's card, we're holding hands with others. We're moving forward with others. We're really creating a tribe of other people around you. And again, I kind of feel like this servant energy is very reciprocal. I feel like, that karma that I told you to put out there, you put out that karma, it returns back to you. I feel like finding, those other servants, finding your tribe, finding, and seeing where the wind blows and where it takes you, not getting so bogged down in one spot. I kind of see the 4 of Pentacles. It's 4 of Pentacles in reverse, but I kind of see the 4 of Pentacles sometimes as a hoarder card. This karma that I talked about putting out there, and then the energy follows. I think seeing wealth and abundance as energy, and you have a lot of love and a lot of positive energy that you're putting out here, that will be returned to you if you see it in that way. If you look for, you look for those payoffs. I'm not saying look, you're not doing everything for a payday, not at all. And that isn't kind of within your nature at all. You're looking for experiences. You're looking for friendship. You're looking for fun. You're willing to go and because this person is locked up in a room and just saving for a rainy day. There's a certain amount of that's good, but there's a certain amount of that is that keeps you bound to where you are. Don't let your possessions hold you back. Don't let, you're meant to be free here. You're meant to flow and be free. And, where we have one beginning, we have one ending, we have a new beginning. The World card is a major arcana card. It is the end of the major arcana. It is going through this journey and then being satisfied with where we are. And it's interesting that it kind of comes in here in the middle of these steps. This kind of came up in group 2 as well, where the steps came out, and I kind of feel like, you know, it's sometimes your first step is connecting with other people. Sometimes your first step is release. Sometimes your first step is kind of going with the flow, or finishing up where you were so that you can get to where you want to be. So I kind of feel like there's a lot of fluidity here within your particular steps. Again, the takeaways, the important parts is the flow and the release and the allow and the connections. Those are what is important. That is what gets you to your goal of living your purpose and finding your purpose. And I kind of feel like finding your purpose is not so much your purpose. Your purpose is to serve others. Your purpose is to find joy. Your purpose is to be spiritual. And your purpose is going to evolve and change as you evolve and change. There's not just one purpose, and I need to be on this path. It's not a rigid path. It's just a constant discovery and a constant kind of living with joy, so that when you look back at any point, when you decide to look back at what you've done and what you've accomplished, you can see, even though you're just flowing along and you're very free here, that you can see I don't want to say that you can put like a Gantt chart to it, or you can chart it out in Excel, but you definitely see where your impact has been felt. You can see the lives that you've touched. You can see kind of your footprints in the sand behind you, and where you have gone, and the impression that you have made. How to get the most out of this lifetime, and we get the 6 of Swords. The 6 of Swords is in reverse. The 6 of Swords, this card is kind of like, see ya. I'm moving away. I'm getting out of here. See you later, suckers. Is what's coming into my head. But you have it in reverse. So, when you hit a trouble spot, when you hit some turbulence, I said talking about going with the flow, but it's also knowing when to make a stand, when to push back a little bit. That you are very, I'm just saying, like, maybe not necessarily a line in the sand, but planting your feet and weathering the storm. This too shall pass. Some of this you're doing because of other people, because they need your strength. But the 6 of Swords energy is like going off and finding new places, new things, and even though there's a lot of adventure here, you are someone to be reckoned with. You are somebody who makes a stand, and especially around what you feel is right and wrong. So that is what I have for you, my lovely dragonfly tomboy servant. I'm sure you didn't start this reading thinking that that's what I would be calling you, but I hope this makes sense. Please let me know if this resonated. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next reading.